Time. All right. I won't touch my mouse anymore. So my name is Ben Mulkey, Chief Operating Officer here for Simon Kitten Council. We'll be going through a bunch of different ways you can recruit youth and get more families involved in your scouting program this fall. And hopefully this is an interactive session. You'll get a lot of opportunities to see kind of the best practices and methods to ways to get kids and families to join. But I'll start off by talking about our leadership group here in Simon Kitten Council. And first off, I'll start off with Ken Heinz, who is our former council membership chair and is now the vice president of scouting operations for Simon Kitten Council. And I want to give him an opportunity. If Ken, if you want to come up here, you can. I'm be on camera. That's awesome. But he'll talk to you a little bit about why he's passionate about scouting and why he cares so much about membership. Ken.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Ben. Scouting is kind of been a lifelong thing that I've done. Started out as a Cub Scout and went all the way and earned my Eagle and got back involved with my son. And I just really think it is a great avenue for youth to learn lots of skills, leadership skills, team skills, just skills in general. And I took over as the membership chair about 4 years ago. And really excited that we had 3 consecutive years of, so I always think of membership as a funnel, right? You want to work the top of the funnel and then you want to work it all the way down. So I'm giving you a visual, right? Top of the funnel all the way down. And the top of the funnel is Cub Scouts. And as you move down the funnel, it's Scouts BSA, and then you get into venturing and exploring, right? So you should have the most kids at Cub Scouts, and that number is important because that drives future membership at Scouts PSA and so on and so forth. So 3 years of consecutive growth, over 5% on Cub Scouts in the last 3 years. That's great. And so we want to continue that, go forward. And that's why we're here tonight, is to really kick this off, talk about it. We've got some exciting things that are going. And I think the other thing I'd like to talk about is that I'm on the board and the board's looking forward. There's a lot of stuff that we've talked about in the past, that we've seen in the past, but the future is bright and we're really excited about it. We'll talk about some things tonight. There's some other things that we're working on. But a lot of the stuff that happened in the past is in the past. So we're really focusing forward on what can we do so that we can develop and deliver this program to the youth out there that need it so much. So that's my pitch. Ben, is there anything else you'd need?
There might be questions you can answer.
Okay, thank you.
Right. We also have our more localized chairs, our district membership chairs, Mike Jennings in Daybreak, Terry Barr in Frontier, Eric Roush in Gateway, and then Elizabeth Firth in Polaris. All of them are part of our key kind of like strategy team. They're helpful as resources. If you're in all of you are in one of those districts, if you connect with them and say, hey, I went to the kickoff, I went to the training, I want to do X, Y, or Z, or you say, I had a great membership campaign, I think we should add this and everyone should do X, Y, or Z. That feedback is huge. So the whole point of them being membership chairs is to have an interaction with you and be there to support you. So we'd love to have you interact with them on a regular basis in your membership campaign and get as much support as you can. If you've come to this before, like we've switched up our slide deck a little bit. We're going to talk about a few different things this year that we haven't talked about in the past. Also, if you're like, hey, I really want some people from my unit or other people to hear about this, we are recording it. It hasn't stopped recording again, which is nice. But we're going to record this. Everyone's going to be sent a version of it, an edited version. They won't obviously be able to ask questions in live like you all will be able to since you're here, but they'll be able to get this information as well. But the first thing I want to start off by saying is, we have an access problem when it comes to trying to get kids involved with scouting. Our number one goal in our strategic plan and things we're working on in the next 5 years is to give every kid an opportunity and every family an opportunity to do scouting program. We know the impact of it. I have a son and who's going into second grade, and another son that's going into kindergarten. My son Bodie, was in Tigers this last year, is ecstatic about scouting. He loves it. And his little brother Finn loves scouting. He came to every meeting. It has a great impact on their lives. But our pack, what's a decent sized pack? It's about 40 kids in the pack. We should, based on the number of kids in our community, have like 100 kids in our pack. We live in Pataskala. There's only 2 packs in Pataskala, and there's like 4,000 kids. There's tons and tons of kids that could participate in our program, but we don't have as much access in those schools as we'd like. We aren't able to do things like scout talks and all these different things. So they have kind of like partial access. We can pull some strings and twist some arms and get flyers in school. That's about all we can do. Is put out flyers, put signs all over the community. So that's what I would call limited access. In our schools across our council and some of our biggest school districts in the entire state of Ohio, we have no access or limited access, meaning we can barely recruit, or we have to pay to recruit, or we can't use all the methods we'd like to use. We're going to talk about those methods a little bit more throughout the presentation, but what that means is we have to take different measures in order to get the word out about scouting. And what I would say is I've been working for Scouts for 16 years. I started out working for the Scouts in 2010, mid 2010, and almost every school I went to, they would let me talk to the kids about scouting in the lunchroom or an auditorium. They would let me put out flyers, put out yard signs, put up posters. Every school district was basically like, yeah, kids getting in scouting helps us teach kids principles we want in the classroom. It helps them get better test scores. It helps us have a better culture within our school. It helps families be stronger. We want all those things in our community. Somewhere along the line that shifted a little bit, and we've shifted with some of the times too. But what I'd say is when we had 100% access and everyone could get into schools, we recruited a lot of kids, to the tune of we were over 20,000 youth in scouting in the Simon Kidden Council as far back as 2017. We had 20,000 kids. We're right around 9,000 kids now, give or take a few hundred kids. So we're basically been cut in half over that time. And a lot of that has to do with access. Some of it has to do with the pandemic, but we're doing some things to try to fix that. One of the things that this is kind of breaking news for everybody. If you're online or in the room, you're probably the first people in the scouting population to hear about it. But we're working with lawmakers to pass legislation to grant full access in Ohio schools. That bill should be going through, or should be voted on sometime in July. So we're anticipating that we may have full school access in 2026. It may not take effect immediately in 2025. It might be something we have to enact in 2026. But there's many things in the Ohio State Constitution that allow us to wedge scouting in as a program that's mandatory or something that kids should be getting in their school system or should at least have access to get. So we're working with multiple lawmakers across the state to get access within schools, that we be able to go to a school and come with a letter saying we have been authorized by the state of Ohio's Congress to come into your school and talk to kids about scouting. And that's going to be an interesting process when we get access. I believe we are going to. A big portion of that process is going to be led by our field staff and by our team, our professional team, going in and speaking with superintendents, speaking with principals, letting them know what the change is and what they can expect from us as a partner, not as a person forcing our way through the door. Where hopefully they're opening the door and saying, hey, they talked to us about this. They let us know they were going to come in. They've been very polite. They're very scout-like, and we can work with the scouts. We can make sure that we've been told we have to work with the scouts, but we want to work with the scouts. And that's our goal. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, because it is something that's again, it's going to be a 2026 thing that we do. But what I will say though is that the relationships and the way we interact with schools now will have a great impact on how we interact and have a partnership with schools in 2026. So we're encouraging all of you, if you can, if you're having any sort of difficult relationship with a school administrator or not getting the access you think you should, we'd love to have a conversation with you, with your administrators, and talk about how we can have a partnership and how scouting can benefit their schools. So, and their families within the schools. So there's that. Does anyone have any questions? I know that I just threw a lot out at everyone. Does anyone have initial questions about either the access that we have currently and why, or what the impact will be of being able to be granted full access by the state of Ohio? So explained it so well that no one has any questions. Any questions online? I guess I should look there too. I don't see anything specifically about this, so I'll move forward. So the other thing I'd say is, so you might be in everyone's in a different situation when it comes to when you go to your school. What is your response going to be if you say, "Hey, we'd really like to put flyers in, or we'd really like to talk to the kids about scouting at some point, or we'd like to put yard signs out in front of the school in the drop off lane where kids get dropped off, or whatever it might be." Um, Again, the categories are kind of full access, which is we can basically do anything we want. We can go do talks, we could do put up signs, posters. We're on the marquee as you drive by the sign up night's happening. There's so many different ways you can do it. So we need to give everything we got when it comes to that. If you have full access, use every promotional material you have. It's not going to hurt. I'll talk about this later on, but like you almost have to. If you scroll through your phone and Facebook, there's a reason why you see the same ad on Facebook or on Instagram 20 times a day. It's because that's how much it takes to get your attention. You cannot just settle with a flyer. It doesn't work. The one flyer in the take home folder doesn't work. I got 700 flyers in my kid's take home folder on the last day of school that he never took home. So like, and I took them and I looked at them and said, these are all from like the last 6 months, and I threw them in the garbage. So we have to have other methods than just a flyer. So partial access, give them everything we can allow. Let's give them every single opportunity we can to learn about scouting. Let's make sure that if they allow us to do it, we take advantage of it. We don't just say, well, man, they're only going to give us half the stuff we wanted. I might as well just not do anything. No, please use every promotion available, every way to get the word out. And then finally, no access, where we hear from a school district and say, you cannot do anything here. You cannot promote scouting. Leave. That we have several school districts and some ones that are really, really great school districts that have told us that we need to do different things. That one, we can't accept last year's answer as the gospel. I would stress that is that I think we've done that before and it's been a detriment to us, where we just say, well, last year they said no, they're going to say no again. At least have a phone call, have a conversation about it. Say, hey, I know last year you guys said we couldn't do flyers. Is there any wiggle room on that? Especially if you saw flyers come home for other activities. You can leverage that to say like, well, does everyone get flyers, or is it just the scouts that can't do flyers? And we can help with those conversations as well. But what I'd say is that you'll be surprised how effective some of the guerrilla marketing techniques that you could do will be, and how much actual promotion you can do without having school access. Now, again, we're hoping to get school access, and it is important, but I know from my own personal experience, not having access to schools, that there's lots of different ways to get the word out. We just have to kind of think outside the box and do some different methods, which we'll talk about. Um, so planning and preparation, we're going to jump around a little bit. I just wanted to kind of tee up what we're going to mainly be talking about, which is promotion and kind of how to do these things. But some ways things you can do right now going into the fall, things you can do to kind of make sure that you're prepared and that you're going to have a successful fall recruitment campaign. One, have a membership coordinator or committee. Have somebody who, if you're the cub master for your pack, or the committee chair, or whatever it is, try to find somebody who's not you to be the person who's running your membership campaign. Not because you aren't a great person to do it, but because them dedicating 100% of their time to membership is much more effective than you dedicating 30% of your time to membership. Having one person who owns it and is going to own the goal and own what you're doing helps you a ton. And it's also a timeline based job. What I mean by that is, yes, there are people that sign up throughout the year. There could be random kids that say, we moved to town. But there's this core focus is this kind of like 2 to 3 month window in the fall. And there's lots of people who say, yeah, give me that type of job. I don't want to be doing this all year long. I don't want to be the person all the time, but I'll promote the heck out of it and help kids sign up in the fall. I'll be the sign up coordinator. That's the job I can do. I don't want to sing songs in front of the room. I don't even want to wear a uniform, whatever it is. This is something someone could do and be really effective at and use their skill set with. Another thing you can do is update your beascout.org pin. That is, if you walked into the building today, every material that you see and will see will have beascout.org on it. That is the site that people go to find out where their Cub Scout pack could be. All the yard signs, all the big posters we do, everything we do says beascout.org. So if your pin isn't updated and somebody clicks on your pack, they may not get the right information. And so what I mean by that is that you go into my.scouting, you update your PIN, and you're able to put in the correct information as far as contact information, maybe when you meet, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to run through that. That's a whole nother training in itself. I provided the link in here where you can learn how to do that. It's not super complicated, but I'd encourage you to do it before the fall happens. Set a goal. So we're going to do, last year for the first year in a long time, we set goals for all of our packs for recruitment. We set a goal and we had an incentive. We'll talk about incentives again. But we had a lot of feedback from our packs last year saying, we really want to have, if you're going to do incentives, stop giving incentives just to the new kids, give something to the whole pack. And so we made the shift and had some really good feedback from people about an experiential kind of like incentive, which ended up being ice cream treats. And we're going to try to promote that more this year and even do a better job of it. Having a school night scheduled. So around July to August time, early August, you can go into your school and set up a time to actually schedule a sign-up night at your school. You may say, well, why is that important to do at the school? Why don't we just do where we normally meet? We meet at the United Church of Christ, and that's where we meet. And if that's where the meetings are, how come we don't just do our sign-up night there? And again, I'll stress, I have 4 children, and 2 of them are young kids, and I will tell you that if I canvassed every kid that in my son's Finn's kindergarten's class and said, how many of you are comfortable going to a church program every week? They're probably about 50% of the people that bow out. I'm not trying to say any comments about that as far as culture or whatever, but there's people that just say like, we don't go to church. This sounds like a church thing. I'm not a church goer, and therefore I'm not going to go to this thing. The most comfortable place and the best place to execute a sign-up night and get kids to sign up for scouting is at their school that they're already familiar with. So if think about it from the perspective of a kindergarten parent who doesn't do any activities, isn't involved in the community, but their kids just joining kindergarten for the first time and they're overwhelmed. The easiest place for that kindergarten parent, that first grade parent to go to sign up their child is to the school that their child goes to. So that's why it's the most, from a psychological perspective and a just comfortability perspective, the school is the best place to do sign up. Now, access is a problem. We're talking about that. We're going to try to fix that. But if you can get access to do a sign up night, a standalone sign up night at your school, that's the best place to do it. And the best time to do it is 2 to 3 weeks into the school year. It's not the first week of school because you can't get flyers out. No one's there. It's not even like kind of like a month or so into school because kids have already signed up for other things. There's a kind of a sweet spot we have to hit to do that. Here's another thing I want to talk about, and I'll elaborate on. Back to school nights. We have great attendance at back to school nights in the Simon Canyon Council. We have a ton of packs that are at their back to school night, and they're there. They have a sign-in sheet. They have a nice display. Unfortunately, we have a lot of packs that say that's their sign-up night. They said they did a sign-up, and that was the time they signed up all their kids, and they usually get between 2 to 5 kids at that night. And then they have trickling families throughout the rest of the fall. And the reason why, and again, I'll stress, I have 4 back to school nights at 4 different schools for my 4 children. And in every single one of those cases, when I walk into that school with my Kleenex box and my markers and a checkbook to pay for school fees and a check to pay for my food fees for the kids and whatever health forms they need and whatever backpack stuff they're supposed to bring, I'm not interested in signing up for anything else that night. I may be interested in signing in for something or being interested in something, but I'm not going to sign up that night for something different. I've already shelled out $400 for 4 different people, and I'm not going to sign up that night. It's a great PR opportunity. I don't want to be flippant about it, but like it is a great opportunity to promote your sign up night and to promote your pack or promote coming to a pack meeting to sign up, but it's not the best time to sign up for something else. And so what I'd encourage you to do is go to that. Don't skip it. You're going to have every kid in the whole school walk by. So it is the best place for exposure, but it's not the best time to sign up. So encourage you to, if somebody wants to sign up that night, the 3 out of 500 kids that are walking through, that's fine. But it's a great place to promote your sign up night. Have a standalone sign up night. Flyers. We have a flyer request form that we send out to everybody. Basically, when you have your sign up night selected, again, the way we know that a lot of people are doing their sign up night at the open houses is because people will request flyers for the open house, and we can't distribute the flyers to the school because the school's not open. So it'll be like, my sign up night is on the open house. And they'll say, I'd like flyers 2 weeks beforehand. no one got the flyers because the school's not open yet. So I think it makes sense what I'm trying to say, but it's like 30 to 40% of our units are doing that. So we really want to stress, have a standalone sign up night. We'll get you flyers. We'll print you 5 different flyers throughout the whole fall. I'll print as many flyers as you need because we want to get the word out. But have a standalone sign up night with a flyer that we can promote your sign up night with. And finally, if you can have access to schools, school talks are great. We'd be glad to go talk to our principal about that. Think about it as a pep rally for your scouts. Think about it as an opportunity for scouts to wear their uniform to that day to school. If you know when this talk's happening, it's a great time for them to invite friends. It's also a time that every kid's going to learn about scouting and get excited about it. I've done 500 to 1,000 scout talks the last 16 years. They're a blast. Kids get excited about it. But the other thing I'll say is, kindergarten, second grader here, that age group, kindergarten to second grade, doesn't remember what I said at the school talk. They just remember that it was exciting. The big guy with the scout uniform on, so they're going to get to shoot archery and go to camp and cook s'mores, but they don't know when the sign up night is. They don't know how they can join. They just know they want to. So that flyer and the yard sign and the poster and the geofence and all the stuff we do is key to converting that excitement to actually a parent getting them to get a meeting. So like that's how it all fits together. Like in terms of in order for that scout talk to work, we have to use all the other stuff. Otherwise, the fifth grader knows how to read a flyer and they know how to remember what I said, but the fifth graders are already kind of out the door. They're not the ones that are joining. Our core demo is the kids that can't remember when it was what I said, and we need to give them extra materials to help them get to the meeting. So with that, any questions about this slide? We're going to talk about more of the promotion stuff, but yeah, Eric.
Really quickly, schools have to let in after hours. That's a state law.
Correct. Yes.
They can charge you. They can charge you for fees for the custodian, et cetera. Cleaning up, locking up, et cetera. That's allowed. But they may also require us to have a copy of our indemnification insurance policy. Then where can we get that if it's needed?
Awesome. So you can ask your district executive. They won't be the person to provide it to you, but we have Marty, our office manager, can provide it, or Allison, our kind of like customer support person or lead, can provide that insurance document. Basically outlines that we have a $20 million liability insurance, and that if something happens at the school that's scouting related, that they're covered by our liability insurance. But yeah, that's very easy for us to print off. We can type into it so that the entity that wants it can make sure that they're getting the right information. But that's a great question. In case someone says, well, there's all this paperwork they asked for and I don't even know how to get it. We know how to get it. We've been doing we know how to get the paperwork you need in order to get the access to schools, and we'll help you fill it out because we know how important it is that you have access to those schools. Now, the one other thing you mentioned was the fees. I don't know how that's going to play out with our access point. If we have like some sort of like waiver, we probably won't. But the fees, the question would be is the fee so exorbitant that it's not worth it for you to be at the school the one night? Because you're not saying you're gonna have a meeting there every night the rest of the year. If you have a free space and it's comfortable, your stuff's stored there, keep having your meetings there. I'm just saying from a sign up standpoint, here's the other thing I'll say. I have very rarely signed up my kids for any activities at the location where I was doing the practices. Stress that. I don't think I've ever gone to the location where my practices are or where I met my coach for the first time at the sign up night. So for you to say like, well, we have to do it at the place where we have the meetings because that's where we have the meetings. And so that they'll be confused. They won't know how to get to the meetings. Sorry, that's ridiculous. Like you can have the sign up night at the school and then have your meetings where you normally do your meetings. I have my sign up nights at school for my kids' baseball, and then I go play baseball at a baseball field. It's okay. And I didn't meet my coach that night either. And they didn't tell me what baseball was. I just knew what it was. And I said, we're going to sign up for baseball. So we don't always have to explain for an hour and a half what scouting is. We need to explain some things, but we don't need to explain everything, because sometimes people freak out. They're like, this is a lot. I don't know if I can handle this. And we don't want them to freak out with them. But like, understand that it's fun. Your kids are going to have friends. They're going to have wonderful experiences, and they can be part of it with their family. That's really important. So, all right. And I'll answer some questions at the end of the chat. And then Chaz, if you want to answer any online, or Mark too, you can. So I'm not going to beat it at a horse with this, but the main thing I'll say is there are multiple methods of marketing that you should utilize, and there's no one way to do it. you know your communities better than I know your community. You may have some silver bullets. I know there's different Facebook book groups and communities and different kind of like parent newsletters and community groups and churches and different places that could be a game changer because you know your community. You could say, if we could just get into this place and put flyers at this one group or post on Facebook in this one group, we'll reach twice as many families as we would if we did it at school. If you know that, do it. Take advantage of the fact that you know your community and you know how to get the word out about it. The other thing I would say is, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, but like all these things can be done. I said do 7 or more. And really the key is the or more is what we've seen where packs that recruit 30 kids and have a bunch of adult leaders join or have really great recruitment nights. It's because they're doing the or more part. And it's not always physical stuff. It's not because they printed 500 extra flyers. It was because they figured out, hey, if we just get into this one mom's group on Facebook and have 3 of our moms talk about how scouting impacted their kids' lives, that testimonial is going to impact how many kids join. So it's not always the physical thing or how cool the marketing looks. So you really, it's sometimes it's just about what you say and how you say it really makes a big difference. So and where you say it also makes a difference. So one thing I did highlight on here is this peer-to-peer element. Um, and we'll talk about that a little bit right now. But well, first we'll talk about incentives. But so incentives. We're gonna do ice cream parties again. We've gotten a good response. One thing we are trying to do is build in some funding in 2026 for them to be more than just ice cream treats given to you, but an actual party. So we're working with the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are a major supporter of ours for membership drives. That if you see our flyers, usually in the bottom of the flyers, you'll see a little Blue Jackets logo. That's because the Blue Jackets help fund those flyers being produced. They promote scouting because they believe in our program. They're the founder of the Blue Jackets, the original owner, was very involved in scouting. He believed in it a lot, and that's why their foundation believes in scouting and knows it's a key component of having strong communities. So what I'll say with that is we're trying to up our game on our ice cream parties, make it a little bit more fun, and than just giving you the treats. We want to do that a little bit better, and also promote it to kids as a way to get them excited about recruiting a friend. Like, hey, if you recruit your friend and you guys hit your goal, you're going to get to go to an ice cream party together. Think about how much fun your kids in your pack would have if they knew that. I think our packs knew about it. Our leaders might have known about it at the tail end of last year, but I'm not sure if all the kids knew about it. And that's a key motivating factor of the whole incentive proposition. So another thing we're adding this year, and this is I should have put an asterisk next to this, but we've also requested that our key partner, Blue Jackets, resume a program that we started doing back at the beginning of the Blue Jackets, but stopped during the pandemic. So prior to the pandemic, if you were doing our recruitments, new scouts joining got tickets to a preseason game for the Blue Jackets. You may say, well, I live in Portsmouth. I'm not sure how appealing a preseason game to the Blue Jackets is. I would say it's fairly appealing if it's the right day of the week and you get 2 free tickets. You might make the trip, the hour and 45-minute trip up to town to check out the Blue Jackets. It's a once in a lifetime experience. It's pretty cool. There'll be a ton of scouts there. It'll be a lot of fun. So one of the things we're going to be hopefully getting this year, not locking it in yet, but I think we have a pretty good chance of getting it, is this opportunity to join. Now, one other portion of that is that when you join, you have to do it within a certain window in order to take advantage of the tickets because there's a preseason game. So it'll be early September. They don't have their schedule released yet. So you getting your sign up night done when school starts and then getting the kids that actually go to the sign up night to join will be what locks them in to get the tickets sent to them through their email that they joined with. So they get 2 free tickets for them and a parent. They'd have to purchase additional tickets if they wanted to go with additional people from their family. But that's kind of the other incentive we're looking at giving out in addition to the ice cream party. So any questions about the incentives or suggestions or ideas on that? Yeah.
Is do you send available now?
It'll probably be available just in August, just because we don't have the schedule and they don't have there's a process to get it going, and it's probably not gonna be till mid-summer till we get an answer whether they're gonna allow us to do it or not yet. So good question. Yeah.
So the ice cream party, that's something that you guys are gonna set up and
How do we get the information? Because that's what we do, when and where,
Correct.
all that.
That's a great question. So with ice cream parties, you'll receive an email in early August saying, "Hey, we've set a goal for your pack to recruit this many kids or end the year at this number of youth, based on where you finished last year." And the goal is to grow, obviously. So you're not going to have a goal that puts your pack way less kids than you finished the year prior. That's the whole point of it. But we'll give you that number so you can start talking about it. There's creative things you can do just like you would for a popcorn sale where you have like a thermometer, you set a goal and encourage kids to participate and get the word out about it. And then the way we did this last year, we may change it a little bit this year, was we waited until the very end of the year. At the very end of the year, packs that had reached their goal got an email saying, "Hey, tell us how many kids you have. We're going to bring ice cream treats to your PAX meeting. Pick a date." My son's pack got the ice cream party. The date they picked was their pack graduation. So we could have theoretically done it at the blue and gold, but they picked the graduation as the time to do it because they're like, it'll be a little bit easier to do in May. And so that's when, and I was the person who bought the treats and brought the treats with. So I got like 50 treats and all the kids got an ice cream treat. And they said, "Hey, we hit our goal. Awesome." So it was fun. My kids enjoyed the treats quite a bit and the kids seem to. But like I said, I think we're hoping to have it be I won't go as far as like scooping ice cream and making sundaes, but at least providing more of the party atmosphere because it was fun to give the kids all a treat, but we wanted to be a party and a celebration of what was accomplished too. So basically, you'll be working with a professional staff member to make sure you get the ice cream and that you have all the materials you need. So, yeah, question.
So when we're trying to promote the ice cream part, is it possible to actually get more ice cream treats? Because when you get fruit treats, frozen fruit, and you already promised your kids, hey, we're gonna have an ice cream party. And then as adults, you're going to buy more ice cream because you actually promised the kids ice cream. What's the incentive if we're denying them giving ice cream?
So I would love to talk to you about that afterwards and try to coordinate on making sure your kids get ice cream. I'd be glad to bring you some ice cream.
It's kind of
And
misleading. You get a couple ice cream comes to the
I-
box and then it's a box of fruit.
so we did have some packs that requested because of allergies, that spices or non-dairy or nut foods be given to them. But if that doesn't sound like it was your pack, so I'd be glad to again talk to you about it afterwards and make sure you get. I'll go get you some ice cream if you need more ice cream. I'm not got a problem with it. So I appreciate the suggestion and I totally understand what you're saying. Yes. So I'm with you. So, but yeah, so again, we'll try to up our game in 2025 fall to make sure that everybody gets an ice cream party. So, all right, next slide. So materials. Now, we will be providing materials. That's one question always people have. They say, "Hey, when do I get my stuff to promote? When do I get all the things I need?" And the answer very simply is we give it to you in August. And the number of reasons why we give it to you in August at Roundtable is because if we give it to you now, one, you got 3 months till you're going to use it. It's not a great thing to hand you all the stuff you need 3 months from now. So we do that in conjunction with our popcorn distribution. So our popcorn distribution materials and our membership distribution materials are given out the same night. And kind of one big kickoff for that campaign in August, first week of August typically. And so we have that coordinated in order to try to get as many people the materials as they need. We also try to piggyback off our national campaign. One cool thing that National Scouting America said this year was that they're going to do a major spend on promotions on Facebook and social media and Instagram, and also maybe some billboards and other radio ads. They really are dedicated to using funds that they have to help promote in major metro areas, which we are, scouting. So we're trying to coordinate with National and making sure our materials look similar to their materials. The one thing we don't want to have is our materials give a conflicting message to what National's doing if we're both spending money on promoting scouting. So also it looks like a couple people have requested to record the meeting. The meeting is being recorded and will be distributed to everybody, just so you know. All right, so the next thing that I'd say is any questions on the materials too, you can go to the marketing membership hub. You can print this stuff off yourself. If there's something you find that you're like, hey, I'd really like to print this, but I don't know if we have in our budget for a pack to do it. We can print things off. Last year we printed off bookmarks for people. We did different posters and signs. We have a bunch of different materials we'd like to use. Again, it is a huge incentive for us as a staff to grow scouting. We really want to make sure that happens. We're dedicated to the mission, and you can help us do that by using these materials and promoting in the community. All right, geofencing is another thing I want to talk about. I feel like we kind of underutilized geofencing last year, not because we didn't want to utilize it more, but because we need every pack to use it. I'll be really frank. Every recruitment you do, we want to use geofencing because it was extremely effective. So if you don't know what geofencing is, I won't dive into it too much, but there's a whole explanation and a step-by-step guide how to do a geofence on the BSA Brand Center, which hasn't changed its name. It's still called the BSA Brand Center, so I didn't change anything. But basically, a geofence is you tell us when your event's going to happen, when your sign-up night's going to happen, if it's at the school or wherever you're doing it. We make a Facebook event for it on our Cub Scout recruitment page that we have on Facebook. We then place a little fence around the area where the event is happening or where the schools are you're recruiting in, and then say we want people, moms and dads of kids ages 5 through 11 to see this ad. And we'll put 50 to $25 to $50 into that ad, and then we'll do it over a span of time right before your sign-up night. So when you're today was the first day in the last 3 months that I haven't dropped my kids off at school. But usually when I drop my kids off at school, I will sit on my phone and we'll either listen to music, talk, and I will sit and scroll through some sort of social media or my emails or whatever. We set the fences that way so that when I'm scrolling through social media, and I tested this, it worked at the schools that I did it when I would drop my kids off. You scroll through and you see an ad saying, join Cub Scouts. Pack 1, 2, 3, 4 is doing a sign-up night at Lincoln Elementary School in 5 days from now. Click here for more information. And so we do these geofences and they work really well. They get tons of traction. We had over 100,000 impressions through the geofences we did last year. We didn't do very many of them. So we need more people to do geofencing, and we're going to really be promoting that this year. We're going to pump a lot of money into it. It's even more effective when you have the link and you share it with all your families and your families share it on their pages. I want to stress this. I'm going to go to the next slide, but if your families share the event on their personal page, you may say, well, we shared it on our pack page. We shared the special sign-up night with our closed pack page that only families that have already signed up for scouting can see. You didn't share it then. You shared it with people that already are in scouting. So what we stress is that in order to really capitalize on this, you need to encourage your families to share the event on their own personal Facebook pages or groups pages that they're part of. It's even better if they share a personal testimony or a reason why people should join. And the way I compare, and if you've heard me say this before, I apologize, but I'm going to beat the horse till it's dead on this. The difference is my wife, 4 kids, she's 37 years old. If she's scrolling through Instagram and sees an ad for a restaurant, she says, that's cool, I got an ad for a restaurant. Keep scrolling. If she sees a picture of her friend with her spouse and they're eating at a restaurant and saying, this was the best meal we have had forever, we had a great anniversary, she's probably going to say, Ben, why don't we go to that restaurant? So there's a huge difference between a personal invitation, a personal testimonial about something, and a Facebook ad. So when we're doing the geofencing, yeah, we're catching the attention, where people are seeing it, they're seeing the yard sign, they're seeing the poster, their son and daughters coming home and saying, I want to join Cub Scouts. My friend asked me to join. Personal testimonies matter. So sharing that can make a huge difference on whether or not we're going to be successful with promoting the sign-up nights and getting families to join. And it also just encourages, if you're promoting it to your friends, you're probably going to have more fun at your pack meetings because you're going to have your friends at the pack meeting with you, and that's awesome. So any questions about how to do that or how to encourage families to do that? Yeah. Yeah, so the geofencing, typically, if you give me or your district executive about a 2-week window, we also, if you set up flyers, we'll pretty much follow up with a geofence request almost immediately afterwards. One issue we're also experiencing, not only with the flyer lead time, is that we're having people request flyers the last minute. They're like, I need flyers tomorrow. And so we'll pump out flyers and then we never get a geofence done because we're so trying to crank out flyers for 3 different schools. And then we get the flyers out and it might not be the right day for the flyers to go home. So it's one of those things where the sooner you can get your sign up night scheduled, the more we can promote it, the longer we can promote it. We'll give the ad more time and more money pumped into it if you give this the date earlier on. And so does that answer your question? Like a 2-week window is usually pretty good, but the earlier the better. So yeah.
For the geofencing, that they have to always physically be scrolling on their phone for it to work? Or what if they're like in school waiting and they're not actively doing something?
So it won't just randomly pop up. It's not gonna like actively pop up on their screen. It's totally based on organic pull. It's like so the whole point of it is for it to like look like a post like any other post on Instagram or Facebook. So it's not necessarily like an ad like that would be like a pop-up ad. I bet there's schools that would, if we wanted to do a text, like sometimes I get texts from my school if there's gonna be like a 2-hour late start or whatever. In Illinois, I worked in Illinois for 3 years. They sold everything. If you like, we could do messages, we could do text messages. We just have to pay like $1,000. Like, so it was like crazy, but there's ways you could do that, but you'd have to probably spend a lot of money with the school or have to have some sort of special relationship with the school to do some sort of a promotion that like actively they gets sent to somebody. Now, like there are newsletters and stuff. Again, it's probably pretty passive though. So
So when we did geofencing, for instance, I was sitting going through my Facebook and it was just like anything else, it's like it always shows up like a different, like one of the sponsored posts
Yep,
or something.
yep.
So you're looking, you go, ah, here it is, right here, you know, the information.
testimony.
Like anything else, you know, where sometimes it's, you know, this new restaurant or, you know, Mazda or Ford or whatever else just kind of shows up in your face. So
Based on where you're at.
based on
Yep.
where you're at.
And yeah, and we've set. We're probably going to do some also generic ones. Now, again, the specific one for your pack was probably more effective to actually get kids to join your pack. But we're gonna do an ad spend this fall where we do just like a 50-mile radius and just have money pumped into that where it just says generically go to bscout.org, join scouting, and find out where the closest pack is to you. So they might see 2 different ads, but they're all going to look consistent and kind of look the same. So and have the same kind of vibe to them. So it's all, and those are also things you could share. Let's say you got your sign up night done and you're like, we don't have another sign up night planned, but you see that ad, you could share that on to people and say, hey, keep inviting people to join. You don't have to stop doing that. So, all right. So next thing we're going to talk about, and we're going to actually reenact this in the next room soon, not right away, but we do a thing called the 4-station model. And this thought process behind this is that you do need to be organized and you do need to promote things. You need to tell people what they're signing up for, but you also need to do a sign up because they came to sign up. And that's what I'll stress. We find that from the time that someone signs in to the time they're given the opportunity to sign up, we're finding between 30 to 50% of the kids that come to the sign up don't ever sign up. So, and I don't think, and I don't want to, I don't know the numbers. I probably could ask some other nonprofits. I don't believe when I've gone to sign up my children for activities that they have the same ratio. I feel very strongly that almost everybody that comes to the sign up for my son's t-ball, soccer, my daughter's band, my whatever it is, I don't believe that the ratio is 30 to 40% of people leave the sign up night not having signed up for the activity they came to sign up for. But we have a very high percentage of our kids, their families that come to the sign up night and they leave having not done the thing they came to do. And so that's what we're trying to solve that by promoting to you as much as possible that they came to sign up, they came to join. The only way they might not is if you talk them out of it or if there's some sort of financial difficulty typically. And we have methods to take that to solve some of those issues with scholarships, and that is a different process for everybody. So I get that. It's a real thing. But I firmly believe that the majority of the people that come to the sign up night want to sign up that night. And then if you give them the opportunity to, and you give them all the methods and you make the focus of that night to sign up, that will do it. So, and again, there's our extenuating circumstances where they don't because financial reasons or maybe the night doesn't work out. They're sitting there like, I don't know if this is going to work. I didn't realize they met on this night, whatever it is. But if we could get that percentage of people that come to sign up to like, that don't sign up to like 10%, we'd recruit another 600 to 700 kids in our council every fall. And those families would join scouting and have a great experience. That's a big deal. We want to make sure that every family that wanted to come and sign up gets the opportunity to do it. So we'll talk about that a little bit more about the actual sign up night in the next room a bit. Okay, so following the sign up nights, we're almost done through the slideshow extravaganza here, but after this sign up nights, you want to approve your online applications. This process has become way easier than it was just even like 3 years ago. We're really getting better at this as far as how intuitive it is and how easy it is to actually approve the applications and all that kind of stuff. So that's really good. Make sure that they receive a welcome phone call or some sort of welcome. We're gonna in the next room, if I'll show you guys a welcome kit that Nationals provide us that you can give to scouts that have signed up. That's pretty cool. We'll be sharing that with everybody. And people online can see it too, but they've given us an actual packet you can give with a sticker and a magnet and a Scout Life magazine and a little kit to say, you're in scouting now. You're officially joined. Got to join though. They actually sign up in order to get it though. So like, have them sign up and get their packet. And then, so again, we'll review kind of how you're doing. Specifically, one thing we're going to focus on more this year is how specific schools are doing. What we're finding is that packs are doing there. Maybe they cover 2 or 3 schools, and that maybe they had 10 kids sign up. What we really need to figure out is where are those 10 kids coming from. If there's one school where the flyers didn't get out, or the communication didn't happen the way it needed to, all of a sudden we have a whole opportunity to re-recruit a school because we didn't actually get any kids from that school to join. And so we've kind of generically been saying, well, we're going to do one sign-up night at this location. We're going to promote to 3 schools. We need to collect information of what schools do they come from. Are there families that just never got the opportunity to join scouting? And then we're going to review the list of families that didn't sign up. We'll try to follow up. We're going to ensure that we want to make sure you have an orientation for families. You don't need to do the orientation at the sign-up night. You can do the orientation. You can do the kind of like, hey, you're in scouting now thing at your first pack meeting. You can make a special night for new families. If you do the hour orientation at the sign-up night, the probability that they leave not signing up goes exponentially up. Because it's a lot. They came to sign up and they got a timeshare meeting. Not a lot of people buy the timeshare. They want to go on the vacation, but they don't buy the timeshare at the timeshare meeting because it's a 3-hour-long meeting. You're like, I'm exhausted. I don't want to do this anymore. So you think about the perspective of Cub Scout mom and dad coming home from work, driving to a meeting. Do they want to listen to an 1.5 hour long meeting, or do they want to sign up for Cub Scouts and then come to another meeting and learn more about Cub Scouts? I think it's the latter. So, and then just make sure you participate in council activities like shootery and some of our Halloween events. Those are all opportunities to make sure you're delivering the promise of scouting. And finally, do a popcorn kickoff. Make sure that you're promoting popcorn because it's a great way to pay for a program. You're a better program with popcorn. Your new scouts are usually the most excited about selling popcorn. It's just a great way to have them get buy-in and get invested right away. All right, so main things. If you didn't listen to any of the presentation, I probably could have just made this one slide and talked through it, but schedule your sign-up night and request flyers. Have it be a sign-up night that's an actual sign-up night, not just a table or a booth at your orientation or your open house. Attend a back school night at your school and promote your sign-up night. Promote at least 7 ways that when your sign-up night's happening and how people can join scouting. Make sure that every youth and family that comes signs up. Approve all your applications the night of the sign-up night or shortly after. Whenever they sign up, try to check it, make sure they get approved. It's not a super hard process. Make sure the new families know when the next meeting is and who their leader is. That's another thing is like, we also lose families that sign up and don't renew their registration, and we do exit surveys. They're asked, why didn't you come back to scouting? 25% of people say, I never knew when the next meeting was. I signed up. I called the number on the sheet. I didn't know when I was supposed to come to the meeting. They never told me when the next meeting was going to happen. So make sure we'll have some tools over there to talk through, but make sure they know when their next meeting is going to be. That should be that orientation meeting. And finally, grow your unit, earn ice cream, and have fun. We'll make sure it's ice cream this year, but earn your ice cream and have a great time. And your kids are going to have a lot more fun if they're with more kids and with their friends and doing all the fun things with the kids from their school. So here's a question and answer portion. We're going to spend a little bit of time in the next room after we're done with this portion where we go through the 4-station model. But I might have missed things online. Chaz, do you want to be the moderator? Or Mark, you can do it too and tell me if I missed any questions online. But now's the time to ask questions of me, Ken, or any of our staff about, or if there's things we missed that you want to share that were really helpful for you that we should talk to other people about. We'd love that too. So, yeah, yes, sir.
So you said there's like a packet for new scouts. Is this something that you'll give us in August? So that way we have them on hand ready for the sign up event?
Yes. So there's two different options, and we're probably going to give you them option because the other option would be for us to mail the packet to new families, which I don't think we're going to do. It'd be better to have the instant thing. Now there is a risk that you just give it to them even if they don't sign up. I'll take the risk. It's okay. I'd rather have you do this the instant you've signed up and you've signed in and you're officially a scout. I think that there's also a mental thing that happens with that where they like, I want the sticker and I want the magnet and I want the stuff. I want to be a scout. I came here to be a scout. Let's sign up. So we'll give you a supply of them. If you run out, we'll just say, hey, how many more you need? We'll get them to you for the new scouts. So yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So Tina's on top of it.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Kids from one family. That may or may not be there depending on how their dad's schedule works out, but.
Yeah, we want to give those to the kids. I think there's even a sticker for like a water bottle on them. We want people promoting scouting. We want someone to slap a magnet on the back of their car that night, and then somebody say, "Hey, you're in Cub Scouts." Like, yeah, we just joined. You should join too. Like that. Our kids and our families are our best promoters. Not billboards, not ads on TV. The best promoter of scouting is a 7-year-old saying, I love scouting. That is the most impactful thing that can happen. So we want that to happen as much as possible. I've got like 700 texts on my phone, so we'll see what happens if there's people are asking questions in there too. But
We also try to get all of our current scouts to show up at the sign up night.
so I'd say sometimes can be a major distraction. What I've seen happen is sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. If you plan an activity and you have Arrow of Light age scouts for people that are joining, that's the best method. The best one is if you have a troop there that has kids that are like responsible scout age youth, because what parents will see is, holy cow, there's a 16-year-old boy here or a 16-year-old girl here, and they're helping my son learn or my daughter learn how to tie a knot, or they're doing an activity with them. I want my kid to look like that. I want them to be them. And so I want to join. So that's like probably the most effective one. A 5th grader can also do the same thing. Honestly, like if you have a kindergartner there and all of a sudden 5th grade young person comes up and says like, hey, let me teach you how to do this activity. I'm going to show you how to do this. That's the best promotion. That's the best sales method we have. I'll tell you, like our kids are our best sales. So that I would also say though, if you have a den of 20 1st graders there, they're going to need a lot of attention. And their parents might not be giving it to them. They might be on their phone, be like, I don't even know why they invited us to the sign up night. So just consider kind of like the consequences of having them all there too. So
we went back when there was the Bear Carnival, that used to be when we did Bear Carnival, was just have a couple games because it keeps, that way the leaders can talk to the parents, that you're occupying the scouts, since we always have den chiefs, so folks from the troop there to assist, and we have a couple of other adult leaders kind of run the station. Because if you recruit scouts too, they're having fun and getting more excited, doing things, taking part in things. And then that way parents aren't distracted as well. So we found that to be effective tool. So.
yes.
With scholarships, there's a scholarship form, you fill it out. You know, the fees are based off that, then there's also the uniform scholarship. What is the process after we fill that out, we turn that form in, for them to get their uniforms? What is the proper process it should be?
So the way the process works is they fill out the uniform and scholarship assistance form. They attach a physical application with it, because what I'd stress is the scholarship is not issued by National Scouting America. National Scouting America gives 0 scholarships to anyone every year. 100% of the scholarships that come directly from the Simon Kitten Council's budget. that are funded through Friends of Scouting. I've never seen National give a scholarship to anyone ever. So all the scholarships that are received come directly from our council, from the funds that people donate. Stress that because it's very frustrating. Because we can't do scholarships online. It would be amazing if we did scholarships online because it would be a lot easier process. But the only way we can do it is to issue them ourselves and underwrite the cost of that scout joining. So the initial scholarship portion is fairly easy. There's 3 people that sign off on that. Well, actually 4. The scout leader signs off on it, the parent signs off on it, and then 3 staff members and possibly a board member signs off on the scholarships. Then that youth is registered. Then this is the key point. Whatever information that's put down by the parent is used to get them a uniform assistance voucher. I issue some of those. Our registrar issues some of those. Probably about 25 to 30% of the uniform assistant vouchers bounce back to us when the parent puts down a fake email address or an inaccurate email address. Then we usually have to chase down the leader or try to follow up to figure out the leader says, I have 3 kids that got their uniform, but I have 2 that haven't. I'd say like 99% of the time they haven't gotten it because they're putting down the wrong email address or not a real email address. They are issued through email, so the person has electronically.
Called up my niece last year. None of my kids got their uniform. The only way I got the uniform was at 38 on getting a tree downstairs, then took the rest out of the spot right here. They got them a big.
So I prefer not to have that happen and help you as much as I possibly
I'm
can.
just trying to figure out, what's the process so maybe we can fix it going forward. How's it supposed to work or not?
Yeah, last year we issued about 400 uniform assistance forms and they were all emailed out, and we did over $90,000 in assistance to families. So I know we're issuing them. I'm not sure what is broken, but I'd love to talk to you about it so we can fix it. Because I also want them to get their uniforms and want to help them and want to make sure that they feel like they're part of scouting. So
Yeah, I like that not feel like part of it.
agreed, totally. So, any other questions or concerns that we want to talk about? Anything online, Mark or Chaz? Cool.
A lot of what's showing up online, a lot of the questions have been along the lines of what we're talking about in the room. There were some folks online who were sharing ideas about fun join nights and things like that. So having more of a carnival theme, having simple coloring and cookie decorating ideas. So the kids have some hands-on busy work while the parents are completing the sign up. So that's kind of the add-on that's happening online.
Definitely. And if you can find either a couple leaders that want to run that activity, some scouts that can add in, I do find doing the activity. I've done, I don't know, hundreds of join nights in my time working for scouts. If I'm solo by myself doing a join night, I've done lots of them solo. I usually take the flyers that never got handed out to the school that are still sitting usually in the office that I walk by when I come to school, and I do a paper airplane Olympics. That's my go-to. Is I literally will just set up 3 hula hoops in the different spaces in the room, tape some painter's tape to different parts of the wall, and then say, I would like you, while I'm explaining what scouting is all about, to do a paper airplane with your child. And then have them make a paper airplane with a child, then say, children, you guys can all do the paper airplane Olympics. I want you to go around this course. Every time you make it around, I'm going to give you a Tootsie Roll or some sort of candy or something. And usually I give out an entire bag of candy, but the kids are all busy and I can talk to the parents to get them to sign everyone up. And then usually that's when I make my pitch of, hey, there's this thing called the adult application. You just did a den meeting. You just did it. You literally made a paper airplane with your son or daughter. They went around the room and had a blast. They're having so much fun. That's all Cub Scouting is. You just have to have fun with your kids. Can you do that? Because you just did it, and it seems like they had good times. And usually, if people are like, yeah, I can do that. I mean, like, if this guy can do it, I can do it. Like, come on, like, that's kind of my thought process. Is like, it doesn't have to be a crazy activity, although a carnival sounds awesome. I mean, like, but also if your join night is the highlight of your scouting year, that's also not the best thing either. I guess what I'd stress is like if the peak of scouting is when you joined, and then the next week you go to an orientation meeting that's kind of boring, and the next week you glue some macaroni on a sheet of paper, and then the next week you talk about popcorn. You're like, man, oh, I thought every meeting was going to be like the carnival. And so you gotta kind of balance it out, because the whole point is to sign up, not to give them the experience of a lifetime that first night. So the experience of a lifetime should be like, that was really easy. We signed up and now we get to go to our meeting. I know who my leader is. I know when we meet, whatever it is. So, all right. So in the interest of everybody's time, we're going to do the 4-station model. I'm going to recruit Sam, one of the Sams, come here, and we're going to, hopefully no one loses their connection or whatever. I'm going to stop sharing on here. And we're going to have you all watch me talk about our 4-station model really quick. So oops. Oh no. What just happened? There it is. Okay. I'm still here. So here's what you're going to do, Sam. We'll see if I can switch my, I shouldn't have, hey everybody, you're just seeing my nose right now. I apologize. You probably saw it the whole time. Let me see if I can switch my camera. Maybe. You know what? I'm just gonna have you go hold it like this, Sam. Pretend like it's a first person camera. That's you, but you're gonna show me. You're gonna turn around. Turn around quick. So now you go like this. You're good. You're good. Right there. Hey. All right, everybody come over here. Field trip. Everyone can get up and stand right here. On camera. This won't take extremely long because I just promoted how it shouldn't take extremely long to do a sign up night. But so first things first, when you do your sign up night, having a sign out front is really important. One thing I would say is if your sign is out front several weeks beforehand, it's much better. What we've been noticing is some people are, I've actually seen this happen in some of the sign nights I've gone to, where I literally walk up to the school, there's no signs out. And then I get out of the school and the sign's up. And then I say to the leader, like, hey, you guys had a sign. I didn't think you had a sign because I didn't see it. They're like, oh yeah, we just put it up the night of the sign up night. The point of the sign is to have the sign up, not to let people know they can sign up that night. It's that you know that they can sign up that night 2 weeks in advance, not just that that's happening right now. Now you might not have access. You might say, well, I can only put it out right now. Well, put it out in your yard, put it somewhere so you use it. But have a sign out front, posters, different materials. But another thing you can have, somebody asked about scouts. I think having scouts as people graders is awesome, and having them be door openers. So you have a scout come out and say, hey, welcome to our sign up night. We're doing the sign up night in the gym, or we're doing the sign up night in the cafeteria. So it's a great place to have a scout strategically placed because it's very welcoming. It makes people feel like, okay, well, again, could my son or daughter be part of this program? Look at this kid. I want to be just like them. So let's head on into our sign up night. All right, file in.
Hi.
Yes, Tina's our sign-in person. She just welcomed you.
Hi, come on in. So, I'm sorry.
Take over. Come on. Great.
On our table, this is like Scouting 101, Cub Scouting. So you have a sign-in sheet with parent information, the child, what grade they're in, so that you can contact them later. We have magazines, we have facts and figures, we have the Scouting America brochures. And the basic thing is just to welcome them into Scouting 101. And a little bit of information, things, you don't want to give them too much, but just a little bit of like, oh, wait, do you have a kindergartner? They're going to be a lion. Isn't that cool? They get to be a lion. So, so kind of introduce them a little bit, make them feel welcome, and they can pick up things that they want. It's also helpful to have like a Kroger bag or something in case they have too much stuff, but then they're going to go to station number 2.
So one thing I'll add really quick too is that these are really important, and there's a reason why there's a carbon form here. So the whole thought process in this is, from a functionality standpoint, this is not their sign up. This is their sign in. This is a way for us to know that they came, where they're at, and then what we'd like to see happen in the future and keep happening is for you to keep the top copy and a copy to go when you bring your applications or whenever you talk to your district executive or whoever it is, to go to them. The reason why is because we'd like to double the effort to try to reach out to families that didn't sign up. You may say, well, I'm going to reach out to them, then they didn't sign up. That's okay, but they might say, well, that pack meets on Mondays and we do Taekwondo on Mondays and we can't meet at that pack. They may think scouting's over for us. We can't do scouting anymore because that pack's the only pack. It's the only place we can do it and we can't join. The reality is in some communities that is true. There are some communities where there's only pack in the community, there's only one. But in most, at least in the Columbus metro area, there's multiple ways they could join and multiple packs meeting on different nights of the week. So that doesn't have to be the end of the road for them. So what we're trying to say is like, if you give us the information or we coordinate the information, we can follow up and connect them with a pack. So station 2, Tina, you want to?
Oh, okay. I'll be in station 2. So station 2 is all about your unit. So you're gonna have like, this is what's coming up. Here's our schedule. Here's the contact information. Again, your son's gonna be a lion, so, or your daughter's gonna be a tiger. This is your contact for that den leader. Also just some ideas of what they can earn, things that we're gonna do, patches, flag ceremonies, rain gutter regattas, and we, have a slideshow going, day camps, camping, all kinds of things. So this is where you're going to advertise your unit. This is the cool stuff. This is the unit you're going to join. This is who your leaders are going to be. This is the contact information. If you're a tiger, you get the orange, Now, I would tell you, my pack does not do these simply because we don't have the money to do that too much. Parents can buy them, but gives them ideas of what they can do. Some of the arts, some of the crafts you might have done. This is where they're gonna sell your unit.
So another thing that we don't have out right now, but what will be in your packet in August also is there's a template, like a brochure template where you can put like, it's like this is all about scouting sort of thing. We'll have those ready. Again, all the stuff we had in the past said Boy Scouts of America on it. So we're gonna get the new stuff that says Scouting America on it. We're trying to get that as it comes to us. So you'll be getting a template sheet that's like, I just joined scouting, here's my den leader, all that kind of stuff that you can use as part of your packet. So on to the next station. We're gonna talk about this one too. Tina, you're doing a great job. Get me going.
In our rotation, this is where they can get the information to sign up. Youth applications, adult applications, scholarship. If they're, again, looking for a unit, but you meet Mondays, you can go to the Scan to be a Scout and find a unit in your area or guide them to a unit. Don't leave them hanging. Follow through with, it might not be your sale, but it's going to be a kid in scouting. And that's what that's what we're here for. Whether they join my pack, your pack, their pack, it's another youth that's going to get the scouting program. And that's what the excitement is. So, also, digital area, right? So you might have, this is, go on to here. This is beascout.org. You can put all the information on right there. Pay by credit card. You can be signed up tonight in 10 minutes.
And you might say, well, that won't work in my situation. That's okay. I mean, you might not have good internet, whatever the situation is. Most people can get on their phones and scan it and sign up right on their phone. You could have a tablet or a laptop out or whatever. So if someone says, I'd prefer not to, whatever, there's so many different options to sign up. The online sign up is the easiest version though. It's so fast. They immediately get a welcome email as soon as you click accept. They get a communication. I know this because my son got one when we joined. He got communication saying, "Hey, Bodie, you joined scouting." And I was like, "Hey, man, you got an email." And they said, "Welcome." So it is a pretty cool process. And again, those stations are really important. What I would tell you is I think we are currently spending as PACs across Simon Kitten Council 60 to 70% of our time on station 2 and like 5% of our time thinking about this part.
Oh, they'll say, "Oh, take this home."
Yeah,
It's like, no, we have chairs right here and pens. Have a seat.
So, yeah, we
I can answer questions while you're here.
we're really trying to get not lose families that came to sign up.
They have a question, they're not gonna call somebody.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna follow through. So if you're here to answer questions while they're there.
Exactly. And then station 4. I'll take this one, Tina.
You go for
it. So this is one where they're like, okay, I'm officially checked out. Won my den meets. I met the cub leader for my den. I met the cub master. Maybe it just kind of depends. Again, I've gone to sign up for things and I've not met the coach. I'm not broken up about it. I'm not coming home saying, I can't believe I don't know who my kid's coach is. Most of the things I've gone to, they're asking me to be a coach at the thing. Again, we kind of do that too, but at the very end, and I wanted to talk about this because it's kind of a cool thing. So this is the join packet. we've purchased for the year. And has some really cool stuff in it. Like for those that are online, you get Scout Life magazine, a mini mag. That's kind of neat, where it kind of goes through like, hey, this is your first Scout Life. You've officially joined. You get an invitation card to have a friend join. Scouting's more fun with friends. You get a recruiter strip. You can put down that when you want to get your patch, and there's a QR code to invite friends to come and join scouting with you. There is similar thing. It's a little invitation, same thing. We give you 2 invitations. Hopefully, you have more than one friend, and then we're gonna meet them in scouting. And then the cool magnet. I get this magnet. It says "Adventure On." It says BeAScout.org, and you plant that right on your back of your car or on a refrigerator or wherever you want to put the magnet, saying "I officially joined." And then lastly, we got this cool sticker that says "Adventure On." It's got the little footprint that you can put on a water bottle or on the outside of like a tablet or whatever that promotes scouting. So again, I think there's something special about like getting this stuff. Because like that's one thing that I think we've been lacking is people are joining and they're joining online. And it kind of feels like not official. Doesn't feel like I joined, but I didn't sign anything or whatever else like this. This is kind of like this is the kind of cool thing you can do. Another thing that you can do too that we've been talking about is like you could do like a similar to what you see happen with a kid who's getting a college scholarship. You could do like a signing day where the kids, even though they're not signing, you can have them literally like sit at a table and like sign their name on something. Like I'm a Cub Scout, I'm joining, have a picture taken of it, and make the kids feel more official, like they've joined. So these are gonna be given out to packs, like I said too. But yeah, the process doesn't have to be completely outrageous. It doesn't have to be the event of the year. Having an activity for kids to do is really important. But the main thing is they came to sign up. Let's sign them up. Let's give them enough information to feel comfortable that they made a good decision and they know where they're supposed to go next. And other than that, any questions about this process? Because that's it's very simple. We got done with it in less than 5 minutes walking through. Obviously, it'll take a little bit longer for you guys, but if you have enough good information, you shouldn't need to have an orientation meeting at your sign up night. So questions, concerns, ideas, things that we should talk about.
So all this printed material is gonna be in that August packet, right?
Yes, so all the materials, at the very least, there'll be copies of things that you can make copies of. If you say, I like you, could you print off this for me? We can. But yeah, in the packet, we typically have about, depending on the size of the school or how many schools you have, it'll be between 10 to 20 of each item that you can have, that you won't have to create the data. And there'll be also some fillable things we could do. So like if you're like, hey, can you print these for us with our information on it? That's like the flyers and that kind of stuff. We can do that, no problem. So
How difficult will it be for the troops to get hold of stuff like this? I know my troop goes to like 3 or 4 different schools. The pack may show up to one of them.
I got you. So the troop is, as long as we know the troop is helping recruit with the pack, or if the troop's even recruiting for like at a middle school or for themselves, we can get you materials. There's custom materials for troops. We don't do a packet for troops, but we can print things for troops. But if you're helping the pack out, you're like, we really need the same materials the pack's getting, please coordinate with us. If the pack's not coordinating with us and they're not telling us, the troop's actually gonna be the one handling these recruitments. We can't really get you this stuff, but let us know. Say, hey, we're actually the ones recruiting at 3 of the schools and they're only going to 1. We want this stuff out on the streets. We want people promoting scouting. We don't want to have piles of materials. All this stuff's from last year. We have piles and piles of stuff from last year and packets that we didn't use. So we want to use every single one of them and make sure every kid gets an opportunity to join.
Now, for the older cruise and explorer posts, how difficult has it been for them to get into the senior schools?
So I
High
wouldn't say
schools and middle schools.
I wouldn't say it's super difficult. You're likely doing a booth sort of setting. You're not doing like any sort of like promotion in schools, like at a lunch period, but other you can. What I will say is, and I mean, like, it's not hard and fast, but like the kids should be the ones doing the promotion in schools. And I'll stress that because I don't care how cool any of us think we are, the adults that are in the room. To a middle school kid, we're not. And to a high school kid, we're definitely not. And so the coolest kid to a middle school child that might join scouting is a high school kid. So the 6th grader that might join your troop, the number one person, especially if they're young girls, we find this like the girls age up. Like if a girl sees a 16-year-old girl in a scout uniform saying, join our troop, come be friends with me, go on adventures with me. They're in. They're like, yes, I want friends. I want to be with this girl. She's cool. She's 16. She wants to be my friend. Boys are a little bit different. They all think they're cool and know everything. So like, but it does help if it's a peer, not an adult. They just like, why is this guy or girl asking me to join something and it seems lame? And I'm not trying to like persuade, like I'm not saying this about myself. Like if I go to a middle school, I'm not cool. But if I have a scout with me and they're talking about, I went to Philmont, I went on a Rapids trip, we go backpacking, we love fish, I love fishing, I like to shoot, shooting sports, whatever. That's Cook's kids. They want to see their friends that are excited about it. They want to see kids that are excited about it. So it's not that you shouldn't. You're probably going to attract more parents that are going to walk up to a table and say, "Hey, I was in Scouts. Tell me more what's going on in Scouts." My kid doesn't want to do it. So like that's what my experience has been. But I don't. If you get a booth, go. Like if you can't find any kids to go, but the kids being there is the hook. They want to see the kids. So, any other questions or concerns or thoughts? Hey, everybody online, we thank you for attending. We're gonna get this recording out and the presentation out to everybody. Thanks for everybody in the room too. Appreciate you all. If you have more questions, we'll let you hang around and talk more about recruiting, but just appreciate you all for all you're doing. You're making the next generation of Scouts happen. So thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Great job doing the camera there, Sam. Love it. Thanks, Ben.